Hi, today we're going to be building a Cruzbike Quest QX100. The first thing is to unpack your bike from the box and set it aside. Everything should be neatly tied up in a nice package. You'll want to carefully cut away the zip ties that hold the wheels to the sides. Removing the packaging, set the wheels aside, and undo the rest of the zip ties holding the frame together. Once all the main packaging is removed, you're going to want to unfold the bike. You're going to unfold the rear swing arm, like so. And then after that rear swing arm is folded, you're going to unfold the front end, opening like this, and maneuver the stem and handlebars towards the front of the bike and lay the entire frame on its side. Unwrap the slider, and then after that unwrap the boom on the front of the bike, and you're going to loosen the clamp and insert the slider into the boom like so, and then you're going to level it out and you're going to set the pivot clamp over the steer tube of the front fork. Later, once we have the riser installed, we will tighten it, but at this point just leave it loose. If the slider has a hard time moving in and out of the boom, slightly loosen the cable stop to allow for freer movement. The cable stop only needs to be slightly snug, but not so much that it binds the tubes. Now we can proceed to remove the rest of the packaging from the bike, taking care to make sure that the bike is not laying on a surface that will scratch it, and before long we'll be completely clean on the frame and be ready to move forward with the rest of the assembly. Locate the short quick release skewer, which is for the upper shock mount, and also the seat clamp, which is for the seat tube. We're going to position the rear swing arm of the bike down, and then we are going to insert the quick release through the hole in the frame and through the shock and tighten it. Using the slot as a guide on the frame, we are going to locate the open end of the seat clamp in line with the slot so we can clamp down. And then we are going to insert the seat tube a minimum of 3 inches into the frame. If the hardware for your seat tube clamp is not attached, locate it now and insert it into the clamp and snug it down. Next, we're going to install the rear wheel in the bike. We're going to install the rear wheel skewer in through the rotor side of the hub, and then we are going to install the rear wheel on the rear swing arm. Be careful with the rotor to make sure it's lined up with the caliper. Next, moving towards the front of the bike, we're going to install the riser, which has a slot in it. That slot should be located towards the back of the pivot clamp. We're going to slide it over the steer tube, and it may take a few taps with a dead blow to tap it down to ensure a nice seat on the steer tube. Using a 5mm Allen, we're going to remove the top cap from the star nut at the top of the riser, and then we are going to install the handlebars. We don't need to tighten the handlebars at this time. We will straighten and tighten the handlebars near the end of assembly. But we will reinstall the star nut and then just leave the handlebars to the side at the moment. If we flip the bike over, now we can do the install of the derailleur and the drivetrain. The derailleur comes shipped loose, and the nut that holds the hanger should be located in the frame. We're going to use a 5mm Allen to remove it, and then once we have that removed, we're going to position the rear derailleur hanger in the fork, making sure that the chain is not twisted, and then we will reinstall the hanger bolt. You'll want to make sure that the hanger bolt is nice and snug to keep the derailleur hanger in position. Now we're going to install the front wheel. Again, the skewer goes in through the disc brake side. The other cap goes on the cassette side. We're going to carefully install the front wheel in the fork, positioning it as such using the chain located around the smallest cog, making it easier to install, and then tighten down the front wheel. Now that everything is assembled, we can set the bike upright and we can tighten the pivot clamp, making sure it's nice and snug. And then using a number 5 Allen, we will straighten the handlebars on the riser. We always want to straighten the handlebars up at the stem and not at the pivot clamp. Making sure those are nice and straight along with the front end, and then we will tighten them to the riser. Now we can pull the chain up onto the front chain ring like that and make sure that's nice and set. The seat comes partially assembled. All we need to do is undo the thumb screws to attach the seat base to the seat back. We're going to loosen up those and tighten the seat bottom to the seat base. We want to make sure that those thumb screws are nice and snug so they don't come loose. Once the main seat is assembled, we're going to loosen the lower screws a little bit and position the seat on the bike, making sure that the thumb screws are loose enough to fit right down over the slots on the frame. Once those are fully seated in there, we want to tighten those thumb screws. This is an item that you'll want to check before every ride to make sure that they are secure. You should have in your package a third skewer, and that skewer is used for the seat back. Insert the skewer through the middle hole for starters, that's a good position, and then through the other seat struts, and then secure the seat skewer. On the back of the seat are two bolts that you'll want to use a number 3 Allen to make sure they are nice and secure once everything is tightened down. Using a number 6 Allen, you can install the pedals. And then finally install the final touches to the bike, including the head badge and the small rubber protectors that go over the cable guides. Using a Phillips screwdriver, you can go ahead and install the bell on the handlebars. And then we're going to install the seat pads. We're going to put the Velcro strips on the foam, and then we're going to remove the backing and then install the foam right onto the seat. The final step in your Cruzbike build is to pour a cup of coffee and sit down and review the Cruzbike Owner's Manual. The Owner's Manual is full of great information, including tips on sizing your bike to best fit you, and other safety features of your bike, and tips on safe riding.